Sports Network brings you Extended Buckeye Postgame, presented by Encova Insurance. Here's your hosts, Brandon Beam and Tim Hall.
It's a tough night to be a Buckeye. Ohio State travels all the way out to Eugene, Oregon, and falls to the Ducks 32-31. I am Brandon Beam. He is Timmy Hall. Timmy, happy/sad college football Saturday to you.
Yeah, Beam, it was another big game for the Buckeyes, and it went the way that the recent big games have been going for this Ohio State program. And this one stings. This one is rough because we've talked a whole lot about the NIL era and just how beefed up and how insanely talented this roster is. And it's starting to feel more like a professional organization around there, right? And there's going to become higher and greater expectations, maybe than there were always lofty expectations here. And we've known it. We've been here for quite a while, but they feel even bigger and greater now. And this was your opportunity. This was your first big test of this 2024 season. You can look at Iowa and look at Michigan State on the road, but this was a whole different animal. This was a number 3 team on the road. And, you know, we're going to get into the end of that game, and the end of the game was really disappointing. But the most disappointing thing was to see how not championship worthy this Ohio State defense is at the moment. Hopefully they can get there. They certainly aren't right now.
Absolutely. Before we get into anything else, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Always and forever, your Ohio State flagship station.
WBNS-FM HD1 Columbus.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
To your point, Tim, tonight going into the game, Ohio State was, what, number 1 in the country? Total defense? Number 2? I mean, they were somewhere up there. Number 1 or number 2, top 3, whatever that they were. Throw the numbers out the window right now. Because you go into this game against Oregon and you go into their patch of grass over at Autzen Stadium, 55,000. I think it was 60,000 was the announced attendance tonight.
They're really packing them in there, aren't they?
Packing them in there like sardines.
There's not that many seats.
496 total yards allowed by this Ohio State defense tonight. And we can get to the end of the game, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time over the next hour or so to be able to do that. But that, to me, is the most disappointing thing. Almost 500 yards, a 500 burger almost put up on you.
Yeah, and again, like that's the thing. You want to look at now the record in big games, the record in games against top 5 teams. The teams you have to beat, the games you have to win if you want to win a national championship. We can talk about being 11-1 in the regular season, or going 11-0, and Michigan, of course, is not that team this year with what we're watching, already taking 2 losses. But I'm not thinking that far ahead right now. You got to circle the wagons. You got to make sure you win all your games.
I don't know how you can think about the Michigan game right now.
I'm not trying to. I'm thinking about how this team performs in big games. That's what I'm thinking about, and I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm scared. I really am. Like for the next games that they're going to go into, we know they're going to go on the road to Penn State in a couple of weeks.
Who just won on the road today at the Coliseum against USC in a big dramatic comeback way.
They had to have a huge comeback. And again, I think I even tweeted something out today where I said, I'm not worried about Penn State. Well, I'd like to retract that. I'm worried. I am. I don't know what is going to happen when we got to go on the road and play in these big time college football games. Because every time in the last 2 or 3 years, you walk it back to the Michigan losses and Georgia, right?
Yep.
Those games.
Michigan the last few years.
It's just been either, brutal physically, or the opposition is just piling up yardage. Now you throw
Oregon back in 2021 at home.
That one too, and then you throw in this one. So you take those 5 games, the previous 2 Michigan games, the Georgia game, these 2 Oregon games. It's just a comedy of offense. It's ridiculous how many yards these teams are piling up on these Ohio State defenses. And this was supposed to be different here with how veteran these guys were, with the defensive line, with Jack and JT coming back. There just wasn't a ton of pressure put on Dylan Gabriel. The defensive backs just got shredded, man. Shredded unacceptable from these star cornerbacks to get shredded like that.
What I think was the most disappointing part about that and the defensive backs performance tonight with Oregon, and I'll pull up the number here in a second just to see how many chunk plays and how many explosive plays they actually have, because I know Ryan Day was pretty adamant about that in his postgame talking about that. But I think the most disappointing part was that, yeah, okay, they got you in the first half for sure. Like, you have a couple of chunk plays, okay, that's no big deal, because this team has been so good in the second half, and you would think that some adjustments and that you would see that Denzel Burke was struggling tonight and that you would get some sort of help, and that help was just never there. It was just never a point in time where you feel like wide receivers from Oregon were doubled or that there were really any adjustments. I don't necessarily know if they were playing like base defense the whole night.
Yeah.
But whatever it was, I didn't feel like there was any adjustment from the first half then into the last 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and they never were out of this football game.
Of course
not. I mean,
not.
if you want to take solace in something, and I think we all understood that, right? Like, it's going to take a special kind of performance for somebody to blow this Buckeye team. That would be a different story. That would be a different problem altogether. With this talent, with this roster, you're pretty much you're foolproof from being blown out. So you know that you can come back too. And just having the football with a chance to win, you would like to think that you could do that. And on that final drive, after they take that sack on the first play of the drive, to be able to get back and to cook enough to where you can get it to the 30-yard line with 34 seconds still left? And then the penalty happens.
By JJ.
The offensive pass interference happens for Jeremiah Smith, who had a great game, but it's just there were so many things in this game. We can talk about the clock, obviously, at the end. That was huge. You need better. You need more from Will and from Ryan. Put that on both of them. That's shared. I mean, you've got a fifth-year quarterback. You are counting on him. Literally hoping to count, right? And you're relying on Ryan Day and Will Howard together to make sure that's right, having that timeout in the pocket. But throughout the whole game, Beam, turning the ball over early, Quinshon Judkins, in 2 plays, you hand him a touchdown. Should have turned the ball over. Will Kazmarek never caught that ball at the beginning of the game. You get to score and have the pretty start to the game. So they started fast. They started fast, which they haven't done in quite some time, but it's still, the result was the result tonight.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I think when you break it down to brass tacks, Tim, in big games, it comes down to turnovers and penalties.
So many penalties.
Oregon didn't have a turnover. They had the weird onside kick where they actually kicked the ball off of Caleb Downs. That was Caleb Downs, by the way.
Wearing a tearaway Max Lamonaco jersey.
Wearing a 48 jersey. So that was Caleb Downs out there. Ball doinks him right in the midsection. He's trying to get out of the way of it. He did
an X-wing jumping jack to
trying to
dart away from it.
Ball bounces the right way. That's another turnover. Oregon gets the football back. And then penalties. 8 for 70 yards. I know it's a hostile environment. We talked about it all week. We've been talking about this game for 18 months. It's 60,000 people. You play at Ohio State, you go into Beaver Stadium in front of 110,000. I know it's loud. These are the mistakes that this team cannot make when you are on the road against a top 5 team. You can't do it.
What is all the pumping in sound to the practice facility all week long? What does that do? If you can't get on the same page with a silent count when you desperately need it, those are critical. Those 5 yards, they might not sound like a lot, and you think that you've got this great, fancy offense that can overcome everything.
And they can.
And sometimes they do. But it's just, they're still humans, and it still puts stress and pressure on your team when you take those penalties. And it's almost just like the act of seeing the flag get thrown. In the act of knowing what Buckeye Nation is thinking about you when you take those dumb penalties that are just on you not
penalties.
Being on the same page and just not looking at the football and knowing the silent count.
Yeah, they're procedure penalties. On the last drive.
By the way, before you say about the drive, on that kickoff, when it's a kickoff after a penalty and you know something like that is going to happen, and Ryan even addressed this in the postgame, why do you even have a guy like Caleb Downs 10 yards in the middle of the formation?
Don't know.
Get everybody the heck out of there. Don't put any bodies there for them to slam the football off of.
On the last drive, what were you telling yourself when Ohio State got the football back with, what was it, a minute and 47 seconds left?
I was very nervous about the game coming to finish on a kick.
Yeah.
Because it looked like Jaden Fielding, when he made that big kick, it was like he won the Super Bowl. And it felt to me like he was stunned that he made that play, that he made that kick. And he banged it through, right?
Yeah.
And we were nervous going into that, right? Because you said to me,
you haven't seen it yet.
Haven't had a big, meaningful kick all season.
Hadn't seen one.
Part of me felt good that he was really riled up and proud of himself, and I was proud of him for making that kick. But another small part of me said, boy, he's really happy that he made that kick, almost like he wasn't expecting to, you know? So if it was going to be somewhere, say it all stopped at that 30 and it was 47, I have no idea, man. No idea. I think if that thing was going to sail through.
It's college kickers, right?
I got no clue.
I have no idea either. And the worst part is, you had the ball at the 28-yard line of Oregon with 28 seconds left to go. And then you call the 15-yard variety OPI on JJ, and it looked like, I don't necessarily know if he was farther than 5 yards down the line of scrimmage. You and I really watched that after the end of the game. It was a good sell by the Oregon defensive back to be the 15-yard call. Also didn't look like that he was more than 5 yards down the field, so give credit to the Oregon player on that one. But that one, Tim, was just a killer because then it moves you all the way back to the 43-yard line.
And that is where the clock management came in, where the clock started to move after 22 seconds.
Clock was not an issue before that.
Yep. And
before the penalty, then all of a sudden it was an issue.
And then the clock winds, and there's 22 seconds, and then there's 11 and 10 seconds left at the end of that next incompletion. And then that's how you wind up with 6. So there it is. Like that's the big blemish that Ryan Day is going to have to look at when you have a timeout, when you had the timeout.
There's a lot to look at from this game. The final score tonight from Autzen Stadium, Ducks take down the Bucks 32-31, excuse me. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by former Buckeye defensive tackle All-American Michael Bennett as the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show continues on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
We have acres of brand new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, and Ram vehicles, as well as used cars and trucks that you're looking for at the Jeff Weiler Columbus Auto Mall in Canal Winchester. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we can find it at one of our 23 other locations. So come shop the lot or view over 2,000 cars right at your fingertips at JeffWeilerColumbusAutomall.com. Plus, use Weiler Direct to see monthly payments, value your trade, and get pre-approved. Rooted in family, driven by you.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Always and forever your home of the Buckeyes. Home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
You can join us Thursday at noon for the next Ryan Day Show presented by Roosters. If you got questions about tonight's game or the upcoming matchup at Nebraska here in a couple of weeks, you can submit them via X at OSU Coach or go to OhioStateBuckeyes.com. Click on the Ryan Day Show inbox icon. Again, the final score tonight from Eugene, Oregon. Ducks 32, Buckeyes 31. More of the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Growing up in the family business, I've seen firsthand the joy and love that comes with finding the perfect engagement ring. For over 77 years, our family's been dedicated to providing the best quality, unmatched selection, and the guaranteed best price. From timeless classics to custom designs, we have the perfect ring for every love story. Let our family help you celebrate the moments that mean the most. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
Buckeye fans, are you game day ready? Ohio State football is back, so get in the zone by adding nutritious and delicious pork to your tailgate menu. Ohio pig farmers are raising wholesome and versatile pork to be the nutritional powerhouse that you need to watch every Buckeye touchdown this season. Head over to ohpork.org to find game day worthy recipes and to learn more about how real Ohio pig farming families care for the land, the water, and their people every day. This ad is paid in part by the Pork Checkoff.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Will Howard, up man in the pistol, kicks it himself, running behind Judkins, and he goes into the end zone. Will Howard for an Ohio State touchdown. Howard takes it into the end zone for his 5th rushing touchdown of the season, and off the opening drive, the Buckeyes take it down and score, leading 6-0.
That drive looks pretty good for Ohio State right out of the gates. 10 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes eaten off the clock. All was well at that moment in time.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It was a good start.
Will Howard, I thought, played a pretty solid football game, other than the last 6 seconds, and maybe the mind melt at the very end where he needed to get down, need to call the timeout.
Yep.
As soon as your body is even getting close to the 30-yard line, and you see the clock. First of all, don't pump fake the ball. Don't do that, because that's going to eat off another 2 seconds. You see the gap. Go for the gap. Your butt hits the 30. Get down. Call the time.
I love how we're also trying to do. Don't you love screenshot football?
No.
Isn't screenshot football the greatest?
No. Well,
actually, that kneecap is down and that second's still on the clock. You know what? That's how it goes. He had a big, long slide to finish the play, and that clock sure looked like zeros by the time. And he's in the middle of the field, so it's not like the clock stops this millisecond his knee touches the ground. You've got to get the timeout to the referees, and if they're not able to see that, and by the time he's down, look over, that's on you. Now, if you want to get on him about Jeremiah Smith just getting out of a break, and that's going to be the end-all, be-all for you, because if that penalty doesn't get called, you're at the 19-yard line, and you've got 22 seconds left. Maybe you burn the time out there because he was tackled in bounds. It was going to keep moving. They still could have missed the kick. You still had that play on that first drive that was clearly a fumble by Will Kazmarek that was recovered by Oregon, and they didn't even stop to review it. You can blame Dan Lanning, too. A coach could do the timeout and initiate the challenge and then get it back, and that wasn't done. And credit Will Howard and the offense, Ryan Day and Chip Kelly, for getting on the ball and running it quickly, but it was so much more than just the end of that game.
Yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, your defense gave up 496 yards on the road. As we now head out to the hotline and check in with our late night postgame friend, he is former Buckeye defensive tackle, All-American, national champion Michael Bennett. Mike, thanks so much for the time, buddy. Always appreciate it. Long night for the Buckeyes on this cross-country travel game for them. When I say 496 yards of total offense for Oregon, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, you guys watched it. It was tough. Oregon came out to play. You could see it, that they came out with that fire, and the guys were running hard. I did not give it to Oregon. I didn't think that their run game would be able to be that strong. And I didn't feel like the guys, it didn't feel like Ohio State's line was necessarily getting dominated, but they were bouncing off of tackles and getting that extra 3-4 yards. So it just started adding up. They were cooking us a little bit.
Yeah, Michael, what does that do for the morale? And I'm with you. It didn't feel like the defensive front was getting thrown around, but whenever James got into that second level, the corners and the DBs were just having a heck of a time trying to bring guys down.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you can attribute to that, but like I said, Oregon was running hard. The guys were playing hard. They were flying around. They had a chip on their shoulder. I really think it just came down to Sometimes those cross-country games could be tough, and I think Oregon, they had something to prove today, a little bit more so than the Ohio State players did. But this is going to sound crazy. Buckeye Nation might not want to hear it. This can be a good thing. But you go into the late season and you haven't lost a game. You're riding high. It's a lot easier to take someone for granted. But when you play a team like Oregon, who I still think Ohio State should have been able to dominate, and you lose, it's a reality check. It's okay, this is what we need. This is what can happen if you aren't on your game during a big game. So it was a tough game, but Oregon really came to play. And I'm still, I like how Ohio State played. They made some mistakes, but I wouldn't have called them soft. I don't think that they didn't have heart. I think they were fighting. It just didn't go that well today. He
is former Buckeye defensive lineman, national champion All-American Michael Bennett with us here on the postgame show. Mike, I know you're not in that locker room and you're not down on the sidelines. Did you notice, Ohio State trying to give their corners any help in pass defense? Because it seemed to me like they were just playing zone and Oregon was busting the zones, or if it was the one-on-one coverage, we know that Denzel Burke did not have a great night. Did you notice any second half adjustments at all made by this defense?
No, it looked like they were really trying to trust their guys to lock it up, and Oregon just kept exploiting them. But I wasn't looking for safety rotation or jamming at the line. I don't know what was going on with those corners, but they were. Every time they were single coverage, Oregon was taking advantage of them. And that's tough to see. I hope they can keep their confidence, but maybe they'll adapt and they'll offer some safety rotation to try to help over the top, because that's not something you want to let a team exploit for 4 straight quarters.
Michael, we were just talking about some of the numbers that this defense has now given up in recent big games. We're talking about the games against AP top fives in bowl season or big regular season games a la Michigan. Is it at all concerning to you now for what to expect going forward? Because this was another one tonight, and it was just another 500 yards of offense on the board for the Ducks.
Maybe concerning. I try to think back in, how you're going to good offenses are going to score. It's hard to really shut down a great offense. And I don't know if I'd put Oregon as a great offense, but they showed up today as a great offense. So something needs to give when it comes to this defense with these big games. I don't know what it is. If it's a mentality thing, if you need to throw more aggressive blitzes in, I hope Jim Knowles will get that together. But yeah, you don't want to be giving up 35, 40 points, however many it is, and just hope your offense can just win in a shootout. You want to do your part as a defense.
Mike, before we get you out of here, does it surprise you? Because, Ohio State's been so good on the ground with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson all year long. Does it surprise you in a game like this that in the second half, Ohio State only ran the ball 12 times for 19 yards? Does that surprise you at all?
I was blown away. I thought that was going to be the difference maker in this game was our ability to run the game. I'd watched an Oregon game earlier in the season, and I did not think that their D-line or their defense could handle our running game. So I thought that Quinshon and Travion were going to really have a heck of a night, and they really shut them down. And I thought close to the end of the second quarter, we were establishing our run game. And usually you see that, and that's an attempt to really make Oregon nervous of us having a hardcore run game. And I thought that was going to bleed into the second half. And I think we just wanted to really put our receivers on display.
Michael, everybody's going to focus on the end of the game for Will Howard. When you get a transfer, a veteran football player like this, you want to just have certain things taken care of as far as clock management. How do you kind of take that into account and then look at the entire performance as well?
I think he had a tough night. He had some really good plays, but, we had seen like 1 or 2 mistakes from him in some of the more recent games. And that was like one of those things where nobody's perfect. It is what it is. But I felt like we saw a couple mistakes where he really needs to lock in pivotal moments. But yeah, I'm not going to beat up on the guy because I know he's beating up on himself. That was a bad mistake at the end. I think 2 of them taking a sack, like a 12-yard sack by falling down, and then the
first play. Yeah,
can't have that. And he'll hear about it. And like I said, this is the 6th game that they've played. So if you're going to lose to a team, it's good to lose to number 3. on week 7 or whatever it is. But I'm hoping that they can lock in after this.
Michael, always appreciate the time. Thanks for hopping on with us as always, late night. Hopefully you can have a good rest of the weekend, buddy. How you feeling about heading into your 10-year anniversary of the national championship team against Nebraska here in a couple of weeks?
I can't wait. We've been reaching out to everybody, and it seems like there are going to be a decent amount of guys who can make it to the game. So it'll be great to see everybody. I can't believe it's been a decade. That's disgusting to me, but it'll be fun to be back in the shoe, to see the fans and to celebrate that amazing year.
You're getting old. That's why.
This will have to be the Virginia Tech game, Michael.
That's what and it's better than losing to Virginia Tech, right? Like it's not a slouch team. I thought that we were on a level where we wouldn't have gotten caught up, but I think it increases that chip and it gives you a more recent reference to use as inspiration.
Mike, appreciate it. Have a good night, buddy. We'll check in again soon, all right?
Have a good one, fellas. Go Bucks.
There he goes, Michael Bennett, former Buckeye defensive tackle, national champion, All-American, with us here on the postgame show. To his point, he had the Virginia Tech game in 2014. The playoffs are expanded. That's a different conversation for a different day. It's a different conversation for a different day.
I agree. I'm not ready to be all happy about it just yet. And you know what? That shows me that we could expand the college football playoff, and it wouldn't take away every bit of meaning about the rest of these college football games, because we're sitting here right now. This still stinks that they lost this football game. This was a big game, and you let it slip away.
Again, the final score tonight from Autzen Stadium out in Oregon. Ducks take down the Buckeyes 32-31. Coming up next, we're going to check your scoreboard from across the country as the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show continues on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
It's Bobby Carpenter. Join us Monday morning at 6 for the Morning Juice on 97.1 The Fan.
You can join us Monday night at 6 p.m. for our next Buckeye Roundtable show presented by Burger King. Our broadcast team of Big Daddy Paul Keels, Jim Lachey, and Skip Mossick's going to break down tonight's game and preview Nebraska here in a couple of weeks. That's Buckeye Roundtable Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, the final score tonight from Oregon. Ducks dispatching the Buckeyes 32-31. More of the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Buckeye Nation, join us on April 13th at the 2025 Ohio State Four-Mother, presented by Union Home Mortgage, the Ohio Beef Council, and Raising Cane's. This is your chance to run down the tunnel and finish on the 50-yard line at Ohio Stadium. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. This is something you won't want to miss. Register today at ohiostatefourmiler.com. Go Bucks! Hey, Buckeye Nation, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. If you're a fan of scoring, you're going to love this. Window Nation is going nuts with an incredible offer just for you. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free plus 0 down and 0 payments with 0 interest for 2 years. And if you order a full house of windows, you'll be part of a full house at the Shoe with tickets to a Buckeye game. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you for the Buckeyes Full House Special.
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. This is the Encova Insurance Buckeye Postgame Show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Travion Henderson in, Patrick Gerd in as the tight end. Henderson and Judkins both will surround Will Howard.
T formation.
2nd and goal, Ohio State at the 1. Gerd is the middle back in that T formation. Will Howard under center. Barking out the call, hands to Judkins going left side, and he punches it into the end zone for a score. Quinshon Judkins runs it into the end zone for his 6th touchdown of the season, and Ohio State is ahead now by a 13-6 count.
Quinshon Judkins mostly bottled up tonight. 11 carries, 23 yards. His long was 6 yards, Tim. Average of 2.1. Did score in that T formation as those guys were calling. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good night from Oregon's defense. Really, really kind of shutting down the Ohio State run game, other than that drive where they had 2 chunk Trey plays like right in a row back to back.
It was. They won the battle as far as stopping the run goes. I mean, nobody really officially stopped the run, but slowing it down, that was slight advantage to Oregon. And I think, Beam, that's a point of emphasis for them. And I believe their fans are going to be really, really happy about that, because you would have probably been concerned about their play in their trenches, the middle of their offensive line. How would that hold up against the middle of Ohio State's defensive line? And then same thing, they didn't have Jordan Birch in this game.
No.
You go back to that last time, they didn't have Kayvon Thibodeau. Yep. So they've had these elite defensive ends. Buckeyes didn't need to see them.
Josh Simmons getting hurt too. That stinks. That stinks.
Josh Simmons going down. Something with his left knee popped.
We saw it.
They brought the... Obviously, they had to cart him off. Yeah. So, in Ryan Day, in just the comments that we heard in the postgame, which you'll hear some more of Ryan Day coming up in the next segment, he did not sound optimistic. It seems like that's going to be a season ender for Josh Simmons. And Zem Michalski came in there. I thought he played well. I didn't see him getting brutalized on any reps. And that's what you want. You want somebody to come in there. And that's a tough call. You got to have somebody step in there and play left tackle. That's a pretty big spot in a game like this.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
It's one of the most important positions on your offense. So I thought he did okay when he was in there. But all in all, it was just, I mean, there was the offensive numbers were there for Ohio State, not as good as Oregon's, but they just weren't hitting on a lot of those plays where you needed them to.
Listen,
4 for 12 on 3rd down.
It was a really good college football game. It's a really good college football game. You came up on the short side again. Like, that's why it stinks so much.
Yeah.
In a big game, you came up short. To the public who is watching this, who's not an Ohio State fan, who's not an Oregon game, that is an all-time classic. And it stinks here tonight, and it will for a while because you lost that game. It was a great college football game. You went out there, you lost. Is it disappointing? Yeah. You gave up 500 yards offense. And you feel like your offense did a pretty good job of keeping you in the game. I mean, we're talking about almost a first down inside of the 20-yard line with 20 seconds left to go to kick a perhaps game-winning field goal.
They're keeping you in every game. You are not going to be out of a football game with this team.
No.
That's what you get with this team. Now the trick is, how do they win the national championship?
Not even that.
With these guys.
It's not even that. How do you get over the hump against a top 5 team? How do you do that? National championship.
Yeah,
worry about that down the future. Worry about that down the road.
It's essentially the same thing, because you're not winning a national championship if you can't win these games. So you're right. And you'd like to think that just because this happens, and we just told ourselves we weren't going to go down the road of the college football playoff and all those things.
10 minutes
and
later.
It was 10 minutes later. Well, you're still in, but does this mean you have to play a road game? You could be playing on the road in some kind of environment. No, that would mean you're all the way. You're not even a top 4 seed, but you're outside the top 8. So at the very least, you'd think hey, look at the bright side. Home playoff game. Yay, Buckeyes.
Don't
the
do
shoe,
that.
home
Don't
playoff
do that.
game.
Don't do that.
You just got to figure out, you got to dig deeper. It just wasn't enough. And I'm just mainly disappointed in the defense and both schematically how they played it. Like you said, it just seemed at certain times the zone was too soft and it was too easy for Dylan Gabriel, or you were relying on these guys that apparently we just can't rely on in that way against these elite receivers.
Missed tackles, too. I mean, missed tackles were a huge thing tonight.
Well, if you want to talk about Denzel Burke, either way you slice it. What do you want to talk about? The fact that he was getting roasted in single coverage by other good receivers, or when he actually met the receiver, it took him 15 yards to bring somebody down. And none of it was good.
No, it wasn't. It was a bad performance.
Well,
right. Hey, on the bright side, Ohio State wasn't the only team in action today across the college football landscape. We're going to get started. It was a great weekend slate that we had here, all the way from the noon games, the primetime games, Timmy. Got a couple of good ones going on right now.
Let's start there. Ones that are going on right now. We just saw Kansas State punch one in. They're on the road at Colorado, Will Howard's former school there. They could get a W. They could get it to 5-1. They're a top 20 team. 21-7. Big fourth down conversion, and then they punch it in. 6:44 left to go in the third, so that was a critical score right there. 21-7 K-State on top of Colorado.
Travis Hunter went out in this game, but he is back in. I just saw him out on the football field, so that was interesting. How about our guy, Ashton Jeanty?
How's he doing?
He's doing just fine. He became the odds-on favorite this week to win the Heisman Trophy.
I like that pick.
I do, too. That seems pretty good.
He's going to run for 3,000 yards this year.
He stands in the backfield like Michael Myers, just straight up, just standing in the back. Just give me the rock.
How about
Boise
that?
State traveling to the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii with 2 minutes left to go in the second quarter. So approaching halftime out there. Ashton Jeanty, 15 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, great. Already at the north of the century mark before halftime. That's what you like to see. Yeah, he's got a nice posture, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I want to see Boise State in the playoff.
He stands like he's Michael Myers. We're getting close to Halloween time. He just has a very ominous presence about him back there.
Ashton Jeanty in the college football playoff. That would be good for all of us.
I don't want to play him.
Let's go to I didn't say I wanted to play him. I just want to watch him. I want to watch them play somebody else.
Yeah, he's fun.
Let them play Ole Miss. I could care less. So let's go to the Big Ten scoreboard here. Little transitive property. Don't you love these?
Oh, yeah. So we beat them. They beat us, but we can beat them.
Right.
So therefore, we should be better than this team by 40.
I mean, the team that just beat Michigan, Iowa, early and often, Iowa had their way with Washington today.
McNamara back his pass. Throws, has a man open. Johnson at the 10, 5, goal line, touchdown! Touchdown, Iowa! What a great job of selling middle pass by McNamara. Johnson, I don't know how you lose him, but he snuck to the weak side and was wide open, and no Husky within 10 yards.
Well, Caleb Johnson had a big game. He also had 21 carries for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gary Dolphin, the great, on the call there for the Iowa Hawkeyes from Learfield. 40-16. That one made it 17-7 that you just heard. It would just be all Hawkeyes continuing the dominance in the second half. 40-16 the win.
Kirk Ferentz' 200th win as a coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes. How about this one? A little bit surprising. Little noon banger in Piscataway, Timmy. Wisconsin going on the road and taking on Rutgers. Luke Fickell's guys getting it done 42-7 over the Scarlet Knights.
I didn't see that.
No.
I mean, I certainly could see Wisconsin winning the football game. My goodness, could you imagine if we're at a point with Luke Fickell's team where we're just automatically handing them a loss when Rutgers is the opponent? I could see them winning that game.
Not like that.
Not 42-7. I mean, we're starting to put some respect on Rutgers' name right there. Minnesota beat UCLA 21-17. They're north of 500 now.
They're 2-0 against teams from Southern California in the last 2 weeks.
You just never know what you're going to get from those boat row.
No clue.
I have no idea. Ski-U-Ma and row the boat. Don't know what it is, what it means. But they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. Night is day, black is white. I don't know what's going on. All right, we got to go to this game here. So we're going to take you down to a top 25 team. In Champaign, Illinois, the Purdue Boilermakers are bad. They are a really bad football team. They've been getting blasted. They go to number 23, Illinois. You think this is going to be an easy walk in the park, right? Well, I'm just going to I'm going to whisk you to overtime, and it's 43-43. All right, I'm going to take you there. This is what happened.
McCray is the back. Altmaier in the gun. 43 all as we start overtime. Snap back Altmaier. Looks to throw. Throw into the end zone. Looking for Bryant. He caught it. Back of the end zone. Touchdown.
So there we go. Illinois takes a 50-43 lead in the OT. Brian Barnhart, Learfield the call. How did this one wind up?
50-49 Illinois in overtime. Purdue going for two. And the stunning win. Maccabee in motion. Snap back to Brown. Looking under pressure. They chase him. He's back at the 20. They got him. They got him. And the Illini storm the field. They've won it 50-49. How do you like that?
Hey, they won the game. Illinois won. Got to respect it going for two when it's Purdue and Illinois.
You're on the road. Of course you got to go for two.
I'd be mad if they didn't try to win the game right there. Also, that Penn State USC game. What did you think of that one, Beamer? USC had them on the ropes, and Penn State just comes storming back. This one goes to overtime as well, and Penn State holds for a 33-30 win. USC misses the kick. Penn State knocks it through for the win.
Thought going into the week that Penn State had a good opportunity to knock out USC in this game. And then we got to halftime of the 3:30 windows. I said, well, same old James Franklin. Penn State's going to be dead in this game. They're down 20-6. Look like they have no life. Nittany Lions come roaring back, Timmy. 24 points in the second half. They end up going to overtime. Penn State makes a field goal on their possession, and that was it. USC, big problems. 1-3 in Big Ten play.
One of those coaches had to win this big game.
You were right.
Right? I mean, you've got Lincoln Riley in one hand, who just he can't stop incurring losses at this point after what last year was with Caleb Williams, with that generational talent. Now he joins the Big Ten. He's losing to Minnesota. He's losing home games to Penn State. Now, I know Penn State is a good team, top 5 team in the country. You're whipping them, though. You're ripping them apart.
You and I text each other all the time, mostly about Buckeye basketball games when you go up like 11 points.
You got to win.
With 15 minutes left to go in the first half.
You get that double-digit lead.
You got to win.
You got to win the game.
Got to win the game.
That's your job then. Your job becomes figure out how to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they didn't do it.
That was it for the Big Ten. You had Red River going on today. Texas, no problem.
None.
With Oklahoma, 34-3. And that football game, Georgia, close one with Mississippi State, Timmy. Only a 10-point win for the Dogs, 41-31 at home. And then Alabama having some serious issues with the Gamecocks of South Carolina at home, which could have set up Alabama for 2 straight weeks of losses in the SEC.
So this one was way too close for comfort late, and then Bama punched one in.
Miller in motion to the right side. Snap goes to Jalen. Looking downfield. Got a man. Bernard, catch made. Touchdown, Alabama. 34 yards. Jeremy Bernard on the catch. Jalen Milroe on the strike. And Alabama now a 26-19 lead with 1:54 to go.
And that's the call from Chris Stewart, Bama Radio from Learfield. I'd give you the rest of the audio playbook if I could, because it was that wild. It was that wild of a finish. So South Carolina comes back. They score a touchdown. They get it to 27-25. They miss the 2-point conversion. They get the onside kick recovery. And then they just do nothing. They do absolutely nothing with it, and they chuck it up at the end, and the ball gets intercepted.
Got you. It was so good.
You thought they were going to win. They lost. They lost it. They get the onside. Oh, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to kick a field goal. They'll win.
Good until the last drop. No, but Bama takes that one.
Wow.
Tennessee takes down Florida in overtime, 23-17. So avoiding disaster for the second straight week. Was
a great
the Vols.
Conference, though, Beam.
Oh, yeah. Sure is. Lots
Big time teams.
Especially the LSU Ole Miss game. I was watching that because we have the Ohio State game on and another one. Double barrels. I mean, yeah, it's just the best, Tim. What can you say? LSU.
Good beating good.
Yeah. There was a lot of good football being played in that game. I'll tell you what. LSU wins in overtime at home 29-26. Clemson, number 10, no problem against Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is a friendly atmosphere.
49-14. Just Demon Deacons getting smoked.
I think that's a place where the mascot rides out on a motorcycle, too. And that Demon Deacon, he's kind of like Purdue Pete. You look into his face, the eyes are black, he's dead inside.
No soul.
Yeah, it's you stare into his face. Like you got the Providence Friar, Purdue Pete, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacon.
What about the Wichita State Shocker? I don't like him either.
Shocker's a weird-looking guy.
I don't like him either.
Shocker's a bad guy. Thank goodness they don't play football at this level.
Yep.
We don't have to talk about that.
Notre Dame, no problem
Lasso,
today.
right?
No problem today with Stanford, 49-7. Number 11, Iowa State going on the road to Morgantown, taking down West Virginia 28-16. BYU handles Arizona at home 41-19. Mizzou against UMass. In a weird Week 7 game, 45-3. No problem for Missouri in that one.
How about Pitt? How about the Pitt Panthers are 6-0? This I don't have it in front of me, but that has to be the first time in a long time that they've been 6-0. And they hung on to beat Cal. Cal missed a field goal, and they hang on for a 17-15 victory.
Couple of close ones for Cal over the last couple of weeks, too. With
kidding. Yeah, with the Miami debacle.
Crazy ending to that Miami game last weekend, Tim. Yeah, so lots of good stuff around college football. Then your Friday night game. Arizona State moves to 5-1, taking down Utah last evening, 27-19.
We have some action. Buffalo doubled up Toledo, 30-15. Miami went to Eastern Michigan, 38-14 win for the Redhawks. Western Michigan topped Akron 34-24. Northern Illinois 17, Bowling Green 7. And then it was the Ohio Bobcats get to 4-2. They clipped Central Michigan on the road 27-25.
Other things going on. The Columbus Crew beat the New England Revolution tonight over in Columbus 4-0. Tim, continuing their good season. The Blue Jackets get their first win on the road against the Colorado Avalanche 6-4 in that one. They're on home on Tuesday for their home opener.
Well, the big thing, though. Come on. I mean, it's not a total loss for the Guards fans.
I was saving the best for last.
Ohio baseball fans,
Cleveland Guardians.
You got a shot to go to the World Series. You got to go through the New York Yankees.
7-3 winners over the Detroit Tigers. Tarek Skubal had not given up a home run since like September 12th. Had gone 24 straight innings, no runs, and Lane Thomas hitting a grand slam off of him over at Progressive Field up in Cleveland. They move on 7-3. When is that game going to be played? Tomorrow, game number 1. So a little Sunday night baseball for all you baseball fans out there.
Guards moving on. Are on Monday night, 7:38.
If you doubled the Cleveland Guardians payroll, they would still be 4th out of the 4 teams remaining in the championship series. Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Guardians ranked 4th. I think the Guardians have like $140 million on payroll. The other teams well above $300 million. Again, the final score tonight from Eugene, 32-31 in favor of Oregon. Coming up next, we're going to hear from head coach Ryan Day as the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show continues on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Got school spirit? The Junto welcomes friends, families, and alumni to come together for a weekend getaway or staycation this football season. As a guest of the Junto, enjoy complimentary transportation to all Saturday home football games. On game day, gather, imbibe, and dine at Little West Tavern, our neighborhood eatery featuring wood-fired select cuts, a range of classic pours, and weekend watch parties. Enjoy on-site dining, downtown views, and plenty of school spirit from the Junto, your new home away from home. Visit thejuntohotel.com for more information and to book your stay.
Hey Columbus, looking for the perfect day trip? Head to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. Dive into football history, see legendary players, and enjoy interactive exhibits. Fun for the whole family. Visit ProFootballHOF.com for tickets. The Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, where it's always football season.
For 100 years, our passion at Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800
Fan. Ohio sports destination.
Ohio State is idle next week. They're going to host Nebraska 2 weeks from today. Stay tuned to the station for the time of our AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show. Again, the final score tonight from Eugene. Oregon takes down Ohio State 32-31. More of the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan. Now back to the Encova Insurance Buckeye postgame show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Smith is wide to the right, 2 flankers to the left. Henderson in the backfield to the left of Will Howard. Howard gets the snap, fakes a handoff, sets up the pass, tosses left side, wide open catch. Ibuka into the end zone for a touchdown. Emeka Ibuka, as he hauls that one in and takes it into the end zone to shift the Buckeyes back in front. 20-15, Ohio State on a 15-yard pass play.
10 catches, 93 yards, 1 touchdown for Emeka. Long came on the 26-yarder. Targeted 10 times, had all 10 catches.
And that was a big throw.
Yeah.
That was a really nice throw, and there were 2 things that opened up there. I thought G. Scott factored into this game in a good way, and Will Howard was able to find him on some key plays, some slant routes. There was that big 3rd down earlier in the football game. So it was nice to see him get incorporated. I think he's a good athlete, and he can really help these guys in the passing game. But, we know the story. It just there were good numbers put up, and Will had some good throws, some good plays, but the offense just didn't quite click enough as much as Oregon's offense did. But I want you to hear, when we listen to Ryan Day, the voice chameleon comes back out, where he's got a different voice when he throws on that headset immediately after the game, and then he heads to the press conference room and then regroups to maybe it's something about how he's got to speak for longer. He knows it's a quicker interview, but right after the game, puts on the headset. And first words out of his mouth were this about the ending of this game.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't come down to one play, and that's the whole thing, is leaving no doubt. And it did. It came down to one play, so we could point to a lot of things here, different calls, things that came up. But, it shouldn't have come down to one play. That's the bottom line. And it did, and it cost us the game.
All right, so he took it there, and he did mention the Jeremiah Smith OPI, but the first thing he said was that, about how it's not going to be one play. It's a whole game. Gets to the podium. And the common theme was a lot of defensive issues. Here he was.
We're going to have to obviously go back and figure out what the common theme was, but there's a few things that we could probably point to. I mean, there was some long throws down the field where they got behind us. And, there was some runs that split that weren't fit correctly. And so there was more than just one thing. There was a missed tackle on the pull there that Gabriel pulled, and that was a big play in the game. So I don't think it was just one thing, but we got to play better.
We spent a lot of time talking about the throws, but that last part that he mentioned, that was rough. That was rough.
That was a
tackling.
good mesh. It was a great read from Dylan Gabriel.
It was great. JT obviously blew up James, and Dylan made 2 guys miss badly.
Yeah.
badly.
Sure did.
Like Lathan and Davison Igbinosun, they're not going to like watching that one.
No, he just marched in from however long that was. I don't even know.
27, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a really nice option run, but yeah, unfortunately, Ohio State was on the receiving end of that one. Again, the final score today from Autzen Stadium, Oregon takes down Ohio State, 32-31. Coming up next, we're going to wrap things up, hand out some Buckeye leaves as the Encova Insurance Buckeye Postgame Show continues on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes. Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you. Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck. Now through November 4th, get 1.9 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash on a new 24 Tundra. Excludes TRD Pro. Or lease a Tacoma SR Double Cab for $319 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Nobody builds better trucks than Toyota. Let's go places.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
It's Bobby Carpenter. Join us Monday morning at 6 for the Morning Juice on 97.1 The Fan.
Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Join American Electric Power, Donato's Kroger, the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus, and supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care. Again, the final score today from Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. Oregon 32, Ohio State 31. More of the Encova Insurance Buckeye Postgame Show coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium Tours offers a variety of options and pricing that will meet your needs. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour of Ohio Stadium today.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. This is the Encova Insurance Buckeye Postgame Show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Second and goal at the Oregon 6-yard line. 4 down linemen on the front for Oregon. Snap to Will Howard. Back to throw. Looking left. Looking middle. Now Howard will run to the right. He's at the 10. Throws in the end zone. Caught on a rolling catch for a touchdown by Jeremiah Smith in the right corner of the end zone as he worked his way past the defender Brandon Johnson. And just when it looked like Howard was going to tuck it and run, he finds Jeremiah Smith on a 6-yard TD pass, and the Buckeyes are back in front.
They went up front on a human scale on that touchdown catch. For me, you, our producer, Panama Ted, that's like a 15 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. For JJ, that was like a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, that was nothing. Maybe a 2.
Maybe.
He gets to catch the ball with two hands. He's not going to drop it. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And he was still a dude.
He was a dude.
He was still a dude.
He was a really
game.
good dude. 9 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's a really, really solid day for Jeremiah Smith. 7 touchdowns now on the year. 1 shy of Chris Carter's rookie freshman record, of 8.
He's not going to miss out on touchdowns in
He's
games.
Score one in every game of the year.
I think he will. He's too good.
He's going to go 12 for 12.
He's going to go 12. He's probably going to have like 16 in the regular season.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Maybe 20 for the whole season. Championship season combined.
Let's do some Buckeye leaves.
It's time to hand out some Buckeye leaves.
Not many tonight. I will give some Buckeye leaves to the Buckeye fans who traveled all the way across the country out to Autzen. It looked like there was a good smattering of red and scarlet in those stands.
The stories were nonstop from the people, our friends in the media that were out there. There were Buckeye fans all over the place. Yeah. They were making people change their plans with their pregame, like bars that were set up. They had to, search for more space to accommodate all of the Buckeye fans that were coming to the party to eat at their establishment or drink at their establishment. There were so many Buckeye fans that were out there. I was seeing a certain flight. There was a OSU alum that was a flight attendant on one of them, and they were handing out Buckeyes to everybody that was on the flight that was heading out to the game. A little note in there. So things like that. I'll go Emeka and I'll go Jeremiah still as far as the football goes. Those wide receivers are just studs. I'll go Josh Simmons for giving his leg for this team.
I'll go Zen Mahosky. I thought he stepped into some pretty big shoes, and
that's good too.
I didn't really notice him. He didn't pop off the page in a negative way, which that's obviously very big shoes to fill with Josh Simmons. So I'm going to go with him because I also think that he will probably, Tim, be the starting left tackle for the remainder of the season for Ohio State.
He probably will be, but on top of that, I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. Certainly not with, Will had a good game, but the clock management at the end of the game, at the end of the fourth there, and not getting it done. Him and Ryan Day, it's going to be a tough week for Ryan Day.
Tough 2 weeks. Tough 2 weeks because you have the bye week next week, and then you're at home against Nebraska.
Oh, my God.
So that makes it a little bit longer because you can't even flush it immediately.
I forgot about that until you just brought it up.
It's a bad time to have a bye week.
Oh, my God.
Before we get out of here, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Always and forever your Ohio State flagship station.
WBNS-FM HD1 Columbus.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Timmy, I had so much fun with you tonight. You said we will reconvene in a couple of weeks' time for the 10-year anniversary of the 2014 national championship team.
Yeah, it's just going to have to be a different path for this team. So hopefully there's some things that are working right there. Can't wait, Beam.
Everybody have an awesome night. Enjoy the remainder. Well, I was going to say of your college football Saturday, but it is officially Sunday morning. Have a great Sunday. The executive producer of Ohio State Radio Sports is Skip Mossick. On behalf of our studio producer, Panama Teddy Holbrook, and for Timmy Hall, I'm Brandon Beam, inviting you to join us Monday night at 6 for Buckeye Roundtable presented by Burger King, then Thursday at noon for the next Ryan Day Show presented by Roosters. The Buckeyes are idle next week. They're going to host Nebraska 2 weeks from today, so stay tuned to the station for the time of our AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show. Ohio State football has been brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by Bob Evans Farms. Once again, the final score tonight from Autzen Stadium. Oregon hands Ohio State their first loss of the season, 32-31. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physician for Ohio State athletics. This has been Buckeye football from Learfield.
And brought to you locally by State Farm, your Central Ohio Toyota dealers, and by the Diamond Cellar. On your home of the Buckeyes, live and local weekdays beginning at 6 a.m. with Morning Juice on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.